Man, I gotta say, behind the scenes, this has been one of the most chaotic videos that I've ever fucking made. Not so much because of anything regarding the album, but like everything that could have gone wrong in getting ready to film this went fucking wrong. My camera fucked up, my microphone fucked up, my internet router fucked up, which means I couldn't access the promo materials, which means I had to fucking go to a Bell store to get a new fucking router. It's been a fucking insane 24 hours. The point is, pure chaos, but guess what? It's all worth it, because this Lantlos album, man. Wildhund is the fifth studio album and the first major release in nearly 7 years from German black gaze underdogs and pioneers, Lantlos. While nothing in their discography grew to be as iconic or immediately recognizable as Unkale's de Lune from Alcest or Sunbather from Death Heaven, their music has proven to be incredibly influential on the development of post-black metal and black gaze nonetheless. I would go as far as to say that, in retrospect, their second and third studio albums, Neon and Agape, are cram-packed with some of the most expressive and imaginative black metal of the early 2010s, and quite possibly the entire decade altogether. Now, last we heard from Lantlos, they had just dropped Melting Sun in 2014, a record which saw the band straying from their black metal roots and opting for a sound inspired by the very moody and evocative alternative metal and shoegaze of Deftones and Hum, coupled with the very slow, evocative, dreamy sludge and doom of Floor. The result was an album every bit as genuinely pretty and immersive as it was genuinely ferocious. Now, I have no clue whatsoever how Lantlos fans may have responded to this record at the time, especially since, if we're being honest, I've only recently come to know this band within the past few months. But I can tell you that if perhaps you were deterred by this change in sound and style, then you're probably not going to like this new album, Wildhund. Because not only does Wildhund show the band completely definitively shedding their black metal skin, it sees them further refining the dreamy, hook-oriented alternative metal of Melting Sun. The songs are a lot shorter, a lot more hook, melody, and chorus-oriented and focused. The band is citing influences from the likes of Devin Townsend, the Smashing Pumpkins, Motorpsycho, the aforementioned Deftones and Hum, even Foo Fighters, weirdly. And I can definitely hear all of that, don't get me wrong, but I would respectfully argue that the sound of Wildhund is more reminiscent of a long-lost fusion of the very catchy, sludgy prog rock and metal of Baroness, and the very dreamy, evocative, atmospheric sludge and doom of the aforementioned Floor. Opening cut Lake Fantasy starts us off with a barrage of kind of sludgy hard rock jams and a single keyboard line just kind of ominously floating in the forefront of the sound. Markus Siegenhort's vocals are very calm, very relaxed, and genuinely very pretty, and I'm loving some of the really proggy riffs that come in later on in the track. The track often slides in and out of these very funky and very technical kind of grooves. There's an articulation here, a mathematical focus, if you will, that weirdly reminds me of what I might expect from Intronaut. Coupled with some more weird keyboards and sound effects, it makes for a genuinely hypnotic and mesmerizing listen, and quite possibly one of my favorite tracks on the entire album. The following track, Magnolia, keeps the momentum going with some very sludgy, kind of ham-fisted riffs, contrasted with some very spastic drumming, and all leading up to quite possibly the best chorus on the entire album. Markus may lack the vocal range and power of, Mike Patton or Axl Rose or whoever the fuck else, but he does a great job of making every single hook, every single melody feel distinct, feel memorable, and feel important. In this particular track, there's some really great vocal harmonizing. He's showing a little bit more force and energy in the verse as well. Cocoon Treehouse is a really interesting cut as well because there's something about the very moody vocals and instrumentation here that weirdly reminds me of like a super sludgy, chaotic take on Coldplay. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I'm just full of fucking shit. I don't know. But I'm like getting some distinctly 2000s alternative rock, contemporary rock vibes here. And I don't mean that at all as a dig against the band, because I am seriously digging this number. It's just an explosion of sound and color and emotion, quite possibly one of the prettiest tracks on the entire album. Another big standout moment on the record for me would be the track Planetarium, which almost sees the band going full-blown psychedelia with some very bizarre keyboard and guitar parts, kind of working in harmony with some very ambient soundscapes to make it feel as if you are literally floating through the void of space. Or perhaps true to the song's title, just getting absolutely fucking blazed at your local planetarium. These moments are so ruinously effective and immersive that when Lantlos finally unleash like big walls of dreamy vocals and guitar riffs, it's genuinely kind of jarring. At the very end of Wildhund, Lantlos even appeared to finally fully indulge in their love of Foo Fighters with a genuinely pretty rockin' number that has the momentum and urgency of like a late 90s Foo Fighters lead single, coupled with the sludgy, dreamy kind of power pop I would expect from Torch on an album like Harmonicraft. By now, I think you get the idea, ladies and gentlemen. While there are some more extreme spices and flavors to be found on tracks like Amber and The Bubble, this is, for the most part, a really big, bold, dynamic, super catchy alternative and sludge metal record. The production of this album, the sound mixing, is nothing short of incredible. It's just so incredibly, consistently lush, evocative, and beautiful. Everything sounds absolutely gigantic without being obnoxious or overwhelming, and it's genuinely pretty easy to find yourself hypnotized, mesmerized, fully immersed within the sonic universe that is Wildhund, thanks to its incredible vocals, thanks to its incredible melodies and guitar riffs and proggy flavors. I will say that the final third of this album can feel a little bit bloated and even repetitive in comparison to the rest of the album, but it's still thoroughly entertaining. I'm honestly going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. I think this is an incredible album and quite possibly one of the best of 2021 so far. Its fusion of post-metal, alternative metal, sludge, prog, dreamy soundscapes, massive walls of noise and space, and mesmerizing psychedelia and vocal layering and harmonizing is nothing short of infectious. I'm curious to hear if longtime fans will be upset by the band's complete abandonment of black metal on this album, and to some extent complete abandonment of like extreme music, but I'm not bothered one fucking bit. I feel like this album does for Lantlos what The Hunter did for Mastodon, or what Purple did for Baroness. It shows them honing their craft, refining their sound, and making songs that are every bit as accessible and catchy and engaging as they are genuinely intelligent and, yeah, at times, still heavy. I look forward to picking this up on vinyl. I look forward to hearing what you all have to say, finally discovering Lantlos, and hopefully going back into their discography and discovering records like Neon and Agape and Melting Sun. And while I obviously hope it doesn't take another 7 years to hear from Lantlos again, if the next album is even half as good as this, I'll bite my tongue. I can handle 7 more years. 4.5 out of 5. Just an incredible album. Go listen to it. Fuck it. Do it now. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately in case you somehow aren't already. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.